Hi, before we get into this video, this is a little trailer I'm just putting out in front. It's a notification of a trigger warning, really. I don't normally do this, but due to the nature of what's contained in this video, you may need to be just aware that it is truly horrifying what the video contains. I cannot believe that this has happened. And I feel that we need to make a stance. And I would ask at this point that please subscribe to my channel. We together can fight what's going on. And when you watch this video, I'm hoping that you will be horrified and angered as I was making it. But I don't know what to say at this point, except watch till the end and then have a deep think about the world in which we live. I think you might need to make a choice. But I present you with my latest video, and I thank you for watching it. Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. This is a disturbing video this time. It's another one of those, I'm afraid. But I would like you to imagine, if you will, that you have been put in a position of authority and charged with the safety of young girls. These girls would be aged between, say, 10 and 14. So going from quite young to early teen, so that sort of era, that sort of age. So you're responsible for them. You're responsible for their safety, for their well-being, to ensure they're not attacked or abused in any way. Their physical well-being, their mental well-being, emotional well-being. That's your job. And imagine, if you will, that you do this voluntarily because you feel you want to give something back, and that's fine. Well, that would be an excellent cause to get into, and I salute anyone who does that, anyone who puts their time in. I think, well done to you. It's an honourable job. Now imagine, if you will, also, that when doing your job, you are then castigated because you did your job. You are shunned, scorned, and forced out of the very organisation you work for doing your job as you see it. Sounds awful. Well, what we're talking about here is the Girl Guides. And for anyone who's outside the UK or who's not sure, the Girl Guides is an organisation. It's very similar to Scouts. It was made or put together, I suppose, I think it was by Baden-Powell, who invented the Scouts. I think it was his wife that created the Girl Guides. I'm pretty sure it was his wife. And it must be around 100, or maybe a bit longer, 110 years ago, something like that. And for the vast majority of its organisation, of the organisation's history, it's been exclusively for little girls, or young girls, should we say. The little girls are younger than 10. I think they went to a thing called Brownies, which is sort of, the Brownies is like a paramilitary organisation for little girls. And then they grow up a little bit and they go into the Girl Guides, which is sort of more advanced, and they do more slightly, grown up things and that. It's a marvellous organisation. I mean, I was a scout for many years when I was young. And to have something similar for the girls at the time, it was fine. And the girls, they wore a uniform. It gave them discipline. It enabled them to form friendships that they might not ever have joined otherwise. And they could do things, especially when you're in an inner city. It allows people from sort of varied backgrounds to be able to do things that they'd never do. They go out and they do camps and a bit of field work and survival techniques, things like that. it encourages them to learn, to share, to have a sense of giving, to have a sense of service. It's a marvellous organisation, and the Scouts, both of them, marvellous organisations. And they only work because of the volunteers who put their time and effort in to make them work. And so when you get someone who takes their job very seriously and bears at all times the safety, physical, mental, emotional safety of those in their charge, you look after these people. What you don't do is say to them, we're going to shun you, we're going to ignore you, we're going to snark at you, and we're going to drive you out of the organisation because we don't like your view. Now, the view in question is that this Girl Guide leader was particularly concerned when a trans boy, i.e. our boy, wanted to join the guides and go on camp and sleep in a tent with young girls as young as 10. And she sort of put her foot down and said, no, we can't have this. We can't have a boy with his male genitalia and occasional erection. It's uncontrollable. Girls, you know exactly what I mean. Gentlemen, you know exactly what I mean. Sometimes the old sergeant stands to attention when he wants to stand to attention. And especially when you're going through puberty. So you're going to put a 14-year-old boy, say, in a tent, unsupervised, overnight, with 10-year-old girls. This is quite clearly wrong. And this woman said it was quite clearly wrong. You'd think that the organisation would agree with that and say, oh no, you're quite right, we can't have this. But no, they are the ones who threw her under the bus. The Girl Guides threw this woman under the bus, turned her into a pariah. She was cast aside. It's a terrible story. And I'm going to bring you this article because I think it needs to be spread. And we need to show up what is happening in this world where this trans lobby, through fear, through threats of violence and intimidation, can lead to a position where this sort of thing can happen. And I've done videos where men have gone into secure units, posing as women, declaring them, not even posing as women, simply saying they're women, going into a jail, beating women, attacking women. And by attacking, I mean the R word. I've done a video on a female-only ward, a ladies' ward in a hospital, where a woman was R word. But there were no men there. No, there were only ladies there. And the NHS actually covered up this R word. So we know it happens. We know it happens. And yet the Girl Guides, this marvellous organisation in every other way, until the woke, trans, sicko, mentally ill people get their grips into it. But like I say, I'm trying to do this calmly, so I'm going to put myself down in my usual corner and we'll look at this article and we'll go forward there and discuss it. So here's the article. It's by sort of Katie Alcock is the lady in question, but it's been put together by Francis Hardy for the Mail. It's in the Daily Mail. And it is an awful article. And it does it gives you the indication of what is actually going on, why it's going on, and it makes you so angry, and we need to stop this. And I'm sure that 99% of people will agree that what happened here is just wrong. It's appalling and wrong. But we'll go through it now. And this is Katie Alcock's words. I was an outcast, shunned like a criminal, just for wanting to keep my Girl Guides safe. See, there she is. We've all read stories of good people cancelled by woke warriors, but guide leader Katie Alcock's ordeal will make you despair. It truly will. Let's just get into this and it will. You'll understand why. The reaction was so cruelly disproportionate and unjust. Dr. Katie Alcock felt like a criminal. She was interrogated as if by the secret police, then expelled from Girl Guiding, an organisation to which she'd devoted 10 years of loyal, unpaid service. Friends shunned her in the street. Some called off her daughter's play dates. Katie, the sort of resourceful, intrepid, independent-minded person we'd entrust with our children's care on an outdoorsy adventures long enjoyed by brownies and guides, became a social outcast because she cared. It was as if I'd been embezzling funds, she says. I was afraid to speak to anyone in case I burst into tears. I was expelled from the girl guiding unit I ran not long before my daughter was due to join it. It was really distressing. Other mums who'd put the world to rights with me suddenly blanked me completely and cancelled playdates. I thought, do they think I'm such an awful person and that I've done something dreadful? I was treated no differently from a child abuser, and yet all I'd done was say that safeguarding children in girl guiding should come before everything else. And this is the problem. The guide, through the organisation, had thrown her out because they didn't want to be seen as transphobic or, an ist or anything like that. They had done this. They hadn't investigated. They hadn't looked at proportionality. They hadn't said, actually, she's right. But then what's worse is that she felt she couldn't speak because of the fear and the intimidation that these mentally ill trans lobbyists will do to people. But not this channel, not this channel. This channel will say the things that people are afraid to say. And I will say it. They are sick, dangerous people who need to be challenged, and they are the ones that need to be cancelled. This woman has done nothing wrong. We'll get into this story. Katie, who led a flourishing unit of guides, brownies and rainbows, I believe rainbows are for the very small, is the latest in a series of women, because it isn't just her, it isn't just one, it's many, is the latest in a series of women who have been pilloried and spurned for daring to speak out against the transgender right directives. Yeah, they don't want a male with his penis and testicles rubbing up against 10-year-old girls in an unsupervised tent at night. How terrible is that? How terrible is she for... Oh, no, wait. She's not terrible at all. She is exactly the sort of person that you want to entrust your 10-year-old daughter to. But the trans lobby don't like that, do they? They want to get those kids. They want to get those kids. However, this time it was not the trans rights lobbyist, but the eminently traditional and long-established organisation Girl Guiding that had produced the regulations on transgender issues that she had the foresight to question with such calamitous consequences. Yeah, it's still the trans lobby, because it's the trans lobby with their big fear, name-calling, istophobia. We want our rights. We want boys. We want genitals. We want male genitals to be in those tents with those young girls. That's what they want. In a 4-year battle, Katie brought a legal action against Girl Guiding on the grounds that she had been discriminated against for her gender-critical views. And last week, good news, guys. And last week, she reached an out-of-court settlement with the organisation, which had accrued a reported £100,000 in legal fees defending the case. So it's cost them £100,000 plus her settlement to defend a case which they settled out of court deliberately, to defend a case in which they are saying, no, it's okay for boys with their genitals to be in a tent rubbing those genitals up and down 10-year-old girls. They're defending this. The official Girl Guiding lines is, it's okay for your 10-year-old girls to be surrounded by penises. That's the official line of Girl Guiding in this country. If you have a child and she's in the guides, you need to pull her out, because you have no control over who's laying next to her in a tent at summer camp. Also, all that money was paid by you, the mothers and the fathers, the parents of these girl guides. You have paid that money so they can defend that, and they defended it. And I tell you what, they did it deliberately out of court. They settled out of court, and in the end they knew they had to settle out of court, because if it goes to court, not only will their name be dragged through the mud, which is why I'm dragging this here, because their name needs to be dragged through the mud, but also if they'd lost the case, they'd have set a precedent, and then all those all those trans would have gone, oh my God, we can't put penises in with 10-year-old girls. And they'd have lost their shit. So the Girl Guides, this pro, let's put boys in with girls. Let's put 14-year-old boys with their erect penises in with 10-year-old girls at summer camp, the official line of girl guiding, settled out of court to make sure that that never went to court and that they can continue putting 14-year-old boys with their erections into tents with 10-year-old girls. Because they're sick people. The sick, woke, lobbying people have got hold of girl guiding. They agreed to pay a proportion of Kate's legal costs and invited her to rejoin the charity from which she'd been dismissed 4 years earlier. I hope she told them to shove it as far up their collective behinds as a good-sized tent pole can reach. And I hope she formed another organisation that went out to explain to people that they must remove their children from this organisation because it's been infiltrated by the cancerous, woke, transgender lobbying P's. We all know what the P's stand for in this case, who want to see boys, 14-year-old boys with erections in a tent with 10-year-old girls, just to get the 10-year-old girls used to them, because they're still trying to normalise the P. The LGBT lot, they're really upset that there isn't a P in that list, and they're working for it, and they infiltrate organisations like this for precisely this reason. They are absolutely very enthusiastic about small children, shall we say. And that is why they do this. Hey boys, get your 10-year-old get your 14-year-old erections ready. You're going in to spend the night with 10-year-old girls, and we're not telling their parents. If you have children in the Girl Guides, pull them the hell out, and pull them the hell out now. Girl Guiding has issued an apology of sorts, said Kate today, and I'm relieved it's all over, but I'm not enthusiastic about running a unit anymore. No shit, Sherlock. She'll be out of there like a shot. She knows that she only has to put her foot wrong again, and they'll have her again and again and again about every little thing. She'll be monitored, watched. You know what they're like. They will... these people are sick, and they are filth. They are filth. These monsters should not be allowed anywhere near children. Katie, in her 50s and a senior lecturer in psychology at Lancashire University, is married to Glyn, a civil servant, and is mum to a 7-year-old daughter and a 10-year-old son. Her concerns first surfaced in 2018 when, without consultation, of course, because if there was consultation, the damn thing would never have happened because the parents would have been up in arms about it, Girl Guiding instituted new policy directives on trans rights. As well as welcoming trans women and girls into the organisation as patrol leaders, Guides, Brownies and Rainbows, worryingly, it stated that these trans members could share accommodation with girls and women. Yeah, they want to put men in with small children, girls, and share their sleeping arrangements. They want to put a grown man with his manly penis in a tent with 10-year-old girls. You tell me that this organisation is not a P organisation. It is most definitely a P organisation. A big P. And they want to normalise this. They want to encourage men, actual men, to go in and join this organisation so they can get close to children. And they want to encourage 14-year-old boys to sleep in there as well, just so the girls get used to having erections next to them when they're 10 years of age, so that when the leaders get in with them, they won't be aroused too much. It's sick. These sick, sick people. To be clear on the directive, and Girl Guiding was singularly opaque about it, they were referring to individuals born male who had transitioned or identified as women and girls, even if they still had male genitalia. They wanted to put boys and men in tents with 10-year-old girls. That's the official line from Girl Guiding. The Girl Guides want this. Think about this. So if you're out there and your child is a Girl Guide, that is what they are saying. This is sickening. They are monsters. Do not hand your children to them because they only want one thing. They want 10-year-old girls surrounding their junk. When I found out, she carries on. This rang alarm bells with Katie, who had then run her own unit of guides, brownies and rainbows, welcoming 100 girls from all social and ethnic backgrounds and religions in Lancaster for a decade. She felt it could potentially allow a situation to exist where her charges could be put at risk. It absolutely could. And actually, it's not a case of it could cause that. It was designed to do this. They brought these rules in. The woke trans lobby get into organisations like this, rise to the top and bring these laws in. They aren't accidental. It's deliberate. It's deliberate because they're after children. They are constantly after children. They are sick, mentally ill, deranged, perverted monsters. When I found out that men who said they were women could sleep in the same tents as girls, share the same toilets and use the same changing rooms if they went swimming, I was really worried. I would have been sickened and worried. I thought Girl Guiding had made a mistake, but when I contacted them about it, they insisted they hadn't. No, they haven't. They have deliberately done this. They had said they had consulted Stonewall, which is a bunch of left-wing, P-positive. It's a group of monsters, and it's led by the chief lizard, Peter Tatchell. Anyway, they consulted Stonewall for advice and were following the law. Yeah, actually, it's not the law. The law's been clarified, and you can quite simply say, actually, I don't want a grown man with his huge penis sleeping with 10-year-old children. End of story. The fact that they didn't even go to that tells you exactly what you need to know about girl guiding in this country. As far as I was concerned, they were throwing the safeguarding of girls out the window. Of course, this isn't about the girls. The girls are the last thing they're concerned about. What they're concerned about is getting grown men to be accepted into a tent with girls. I don't believe trans women should face discrimination, but I don't think they can change their biological sex. They can't. It's a fact. It's immutable. The sex you're born with is the sex you are, regardless of what you wear, what you call yourself, how much makeup you put on, or what operations you have. You're born male, you're male until the day you die. And you can have your little cock, your little cock cut off, and you can clamber in with those little girls and hug those little girls with your little girly erection on. Still got a prostate. I think for the this is her continuing, I think for the safeguarding privacy and dignity of girls and women, they or their parents should be allowed to decide if they share spaces of someone of the opposite sex. Actually, every parent there has to be consulted and told that the new brown owl, or whatever their leader is called, is a man called Steve. And he'll be sharing a tent. And if he gets an erection, he apologises in advance. But he tried not to disturb the 10-year-olds too much with his huge manly erection. She was also concerned that the policy effectively excluded from guiding girls and women such as Muslims who needed to be in single-sex environments because of their religious beliefs. Had she been less passionate about the movement, she might not have pursued the case with such fervour, but Kate's affiliation with the organisation goes back to her 1970s Warwickshire-based childhood when she joined the Brownies. She revelled in its brand of robust, adventurous activity. It fostered initiative, self-reliance and independence. Indeed, it helped shape the person she is today. Her mother was a teacher, her father an academic, and Brownies was across the road and became my second home, she says. We ran around a lot, made telephones out of tin cans, baked scones, went on pack holidays, then I moved on to the guides, and as well as the cooking and sewing, there were lots of outdoor activities and camping. We were given lots of freedom. It was a low-cost adventure, accessible to everyone. After school, she took a degree, then worked in Zambia as a secondary school teacher. A PhD in psychology at Oxford followed, and then she worked in Tanzania on a research project before spending 2 years researching in the US. Returning to London, she began helping at a Brownie group, setting up her own unit in Lancaster in 2007, having moved to the city 3 years earlier. This is exactly the sort of person you need to look after your children. She is experienced. She is caring. She is very, very intelligent. She has travelled the world. She has experienced poverty and difficulty. She knows how to help people. And she cares passionately about the girls in her charge. She is not a 44-year-old man with an erection wanting to clamber into a tent with 10-year-old girls. She is thrown out of the organisation for saying it's wrong, and the organisation refuse to actually go to court because they know they'll lose. Now I'm coming down here because what I'm about to read now, you're going to be angry. You're going to be horrified. And if you're not angry and horrified, please seek help. While happy that trans members should be welcome into girl guiding, she was deeply perturbed about sharing facilities. Indeed, she'd always been scrupulous to segregate girls and boys on overnight stays. Even when I'd taken my then 4-year-old son to camp, we'd slept in a separate tent from the girls, she said, and he'd go to the male toilets while I waited outside. Then I found out, and ready for this one, then I found out that no separate sleeping arrangements were being made for biological adult males who said they were women and they could be pre-op with their huge erections. Are you ready? That they'd be sleeping in the same tents as rainbows, aged 4 to 7 years of age, brownies aged 7 to 10, and guides 10 to 14. This organisation encourages grown men with huge penises to sleep unsupervised in a tent with 4-year-old girls. And are you telling me that this is right? If you think this is right, please stop watching my videos, go to a police station, hand yourself in. Go via a psychiatrist as well, because you actually need help. If you think it's wrong, please continue watching. She said, I was really worried because predatory male P's will go to any lengths to gain access to young girls. Girl guiding had an almost zero rate of child abuse. Any abuse had been by adult men in scouting, but now it seemed they'd be opening the door to the possibility, actually no, encouraging, they were encouraging, and blatantly throwing the safeguarding of girls out the window, and this shocked me. Keen to challenge this, Kate wrote to Girl Guiding's HQ and asked why there had been no consultation on such a contentious issue, but was told emphatically that the rules had been set and there'd be no further communications on this subject. I was told we're not changing anything, you just have to put up with it. I felt utter shock and disbelief. And it's wrong. She was told, we don't give a shit that you are deeply concerned about the potential damage and abuse of your girls. Shut up, go away. That's what this organisation said to her. This evil, corrupt, woke, tranny-filled cesspit of an organisation that you are told your girls are safe. Oh no, no. The one thing your children are not with this organisation is safe. They are predatory and they are actually designing this whole thing so men can get hold of 4-year-old children. This organisation needs shutting down, and everyone involved in it at the higher levels needs to be prosecuted. In spring 2018, she set up a private social media group inviting 9 other unit leaders who shared her concerns. I wanted to discuss the matter because I felt many leaders didn't fully understand the implications of new trans policies. We wanted to evolve a strategy, how we would talk to parents about this. I pointed out too that Girl Guiding was a single sex group, but how could it continue to be if it admitted members with male genitalia? Well, it can't, can it? It can't. However, so febrile was the atmosphere around the debate that one guide leader who had infiltrated the group made a complaint about Katie's views. A 4-month inquiry followed, during which Katie was interrogated by the organisation's human resources investigator. She said it was like being questioned by the secret police in some totalitarian state. Welcome to Britain under trans laws. Welcome to the New World Order, because people aren't standing up and saying, no, 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 enough of your weird Mentally ill shit. I've come back now. The inquiry concluded that she had breached the organisation's social media rules by airing her concerns online, even though she had only done so to a small closed group. It also ruled she had broken Guiding's code of conduct by refusing to adhere to its equality and diversity policy on transgender inclusion. Actually, the one thing she did do is protect the girls. I salute her. Because she said, I don't want grown men sleeping with 4-year-old girls. And it goes on. I'm not going to go through the rest of it. I'm just going to get angry again. I'm going to stop there and come up. I am disgusted. I don't know what to say. I thought we'd reached a low. I thought we can't go any lower. And boy, was I wrong. I would like to ask everyone who's watched this video. I mentioned it at the beginning. I just want to remind now at the end. Please, please, please share this video. Everyone that you know, everyone on your Facebook group, on your Instagram group, email this. Put it everywhere you can. This needs to get out there. This needs to be seen. The children need protecting. If you have children in the guides, pull them out. If you are thinking about putting children in the guides, don't. If you have friends with children in the guides, let them watch this video. Let them see the organisation that they are trusting their children to. I had no idea that the woke left trans lobby in this country had got so powerful that it was literally railroading people who were standing up for the protection of children out of jobs and railroading the abuse of children into normalcy. I'm going to stop because I got angry there and I don't want to get angry again. As I'm recording this, it's early evening on a Friday night. It's a long weekend coming up. I'm going to move myself downstairs. I'm going to go away from videoing for a little while to calm down, because I cannot get over the video I have just made. But I ask that if you too want to make a stand, please subscribe to my channel, hit the bell for notifications of future output, leave a like, leave a comment, and share this video. Until next time, stay safe, stay well, protect your children from these weird, mentally ill people. And goodbye.